Shalom, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful Akim. Teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. This is Akia Wasap. Today's lesson is entitled News, Prophecies, and Global Events. And Lord willing, be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, the true names of the Heavenly Father, and his only begotten Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Lord God and Jesus Christ. And as always, our lessons, our sit downs, our street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel of the Most High to use the gospel preach. And as always, our focal point is prophecy. All right. At the end of the day, prophecy is the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai. And as watchmen, we are supposed to keep watch of the different things that's happening globally and made them to what's going on in the scripts, that the elect may be built up and edified in the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and be warned of the different things that's coming down the pipe. So got a couple of articles here, and once again, Lord willing, be edifying. I'm gonna start with a precept here in Second Esdras, the 9th chapter. We're gonna read that, and then we're gonna segue into some news. The Second Esdras 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. Now, this is Esdras speaking with Uriel, one of the archangels that stand before the presence of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which Uriel in the Hebrew is a warrior Allah, which is light of the power. And he's giving him, prophecies and different things that will be happening in the latter days. So here it's saying, measure thou the time diligently in itself. When you're measuring something, you're judging it. All right. If you're pouring, some fluid in the measuring cup, you're judging how much, fluid or whatever you measuring into that cup. So what we're doing is we're judging the time. We're seeing the different things that's happening worldwide, and we're making it to what's written in the scripts. And that gives us the understanding of what time and season that we're in. So let's read it from the top. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently. The word diligently simply means consistent. It says in thoroughly in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass. So there's going to be particular things that we will be seeing. All right, so you got to keep watch. In fact, the prophets, another title for the prophets is watchmen. And as an ancient custom, the watchman would stand up on the tower and look at, things that's going on surrounding the city, because the cities were walled villages. So as a watchman is standing upon a tower, he's seeing, different things, potential threats. And when there is a threat, he will, blow a trumpet and give a certain sound to give warning to the inhabitants of the land. And that's basically what we're doing through the spirit. Verse 2, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So we know, pursuant to Isaiah 28 and Isaiah 29, there's particular ways how the Lord visit the earth, whether it's by fires, storms, hurricanes, or these different weather phenomena, these different catastrophes, as well as judgment. So we're going to have some articles going into that as well. But continuing on, it says, wherein the highs will begin to visit the world which he made, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world. And it's just been constant earthquakes happening throughout, the world. It was a recent one, a 7.7 in Mexico. And then the current uproars or the protests, you got the situation happening in Iran with a woman was put to death by the morale police because she wasn't wearing her hijab properly. So it's kind of sending ripple effects over here in the States. You got people, or women protesting. I saw reports of that happening in out here in California as well as New York. Now, me personally, I think that's some propaganda that America is pushing out. All right, some rebellion, sedition. So we got to wait and see how things will play out. But that's just all a part of end time prophecy. Verse 4: Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So the Lord has forewarned us of these different things that will be coming to pass here in the last days. In fact, the counsel of the Lord is prophecy. All right. This is Isaiah 48. And we're just building up the vibration. Isaiah, or Yeshai in the Hebrew, he was a prophet during the time of the kings. He was King Hezekiah advisor. And Shalakia, Isaiah 48. And is it 48? Let's see, 48 and 6. Oh yeah, 48 and 5. I have even from the beginning declared it to thee. Before it came to pass, I showed it to thee. What is being talked about here? The prophecies, different things that will be happening. Least thou shouldest say, my idol have done them. And that was the mindset of rebellious Jakes. They would give glory to the idols, not knowing that the Lord, from the foundation of the world, set up particular prophecies and certain things that will be happening. And my graven image and my molten idol have commanded them. Now, I actually wanted 40. It might be 46, but that's a good precept. Isaiah 46 and 10. Declaring an end from the beginning. This is prophecy. And from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done. An example of something that from the ancient time, things that are not yet done. You had Apostle John exiled on the island of Patmos, which he was there for teaching Yahweh Shai. He was sent there as punishment on the salt mines. And while he was there on the island of Patmos, which is in the Mediterranean Sea, an angel was sent unto him to give him revealings of things that will shortly come to pass. And one of the things that was revealed to him was the implantable technology. So that's an example of an ancient time, things that are not yet done. Saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. So the counsel, the pleasure of the Lord is prophecy. So whatever the Lord delight in, we have to delight in it as well. So give me 1 second. Oh. All right. So let's get into some of these articles. You got Cuba approves, I'm gonna say, happy marriage by large margin in referendum. And what's interesting is not only did this come out today from Reuters, the Hurricane Ian makes landfall in Cuba as well. All right. So just as they're approving certain abominations, destruction is coming. All right. And the Cubans are the tribe of Manasseh. These are Israelites. All right. So let's play a little bit of this. It says Cubans approve happy marriage and adoption overwhelmingly. The referendum backed by government. So a referendum is basically a casting in of votes. And you see his Israelites being all partakers in that.
Estos resultados fueron validados por el Consejo Electoral Nacional y muestran.
And then the whole song and dance justifying it. It's basically justifying it, saying, oh yeah, the votes came in, blah, 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 blah. And now let's look at the Hurricane Ian making landfall in Cuba and en route to Florida. It is hurricane season. The peak of hurricane season is September, and they're projecting that it hitting Florida, um, Atlanta, and going in all the way up to the Carolinas. So the government of Florida, they pronounced evacuations for over 300,000 people to flee there. And as we get closer and closer to the end, these hurricanes, these earthquakes is going to get more and more severe. The word is out. The gospel of the kingdom is preached. All right, the exalting of Yahweh Shah, the names has been going out. So judgment is going to be going out. These people don't have a cloak for their sins. So as we get closer to the end, these judgments is going to be more pronounced.
Before the storm in Florida, here's a live look at Key West before Hurricane Ian is expected to hit the area. You can see that wind blowing, the dark clouds in the sky there. The storm is now pushing toward the Tampa Bay area of Florida. It is set to hit as early as tomorrow as a Category 4 hurricane. And right now, Ian is hitting Cuba after making landfall there overnight. The storm tore into the western part of the island as a major hurricane. Officials set up 55 shelters and evacuated 50,000 people. Ian hit Cuba with winds of at least 125 miles per hour. The storm previously hit the Cayman Islands. Homes and buildings are damaged from storm surge.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great
And there you have it. It's very interesting how, you just pass happy marriage and then a hurricane rips through there almost immediately. Now, she did say, they did bring out, the hurricane. So let's get this in Isaiah 28, because the Lord visited land of Cuba right as they're passing laws. This is Isaiah 28 and 2. It says, behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which is an angel, because the Lord controls the affairs in the earth by way of the angels, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. So this is judgment from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Now let's read in another translation. NLT, for the Lord will send a mighty army against it, the heavenly hosts, angels, like a mighty hailstorm and torrential rain. They will burst upon it like a surging flood and smash it to the ground. So the Lord controls, the weather. In fact, when you go into the story of Job, when basically there was a bet between the Heavenly Father and Satan, and that bet was to see if Job had integrity and see if he would curse the Most High if all his possessions was taken away from him. And in that story, Job held his integrity, but one of the things that Satan did, he caused a mighty wind to smote the four corners of the house. So these angels, they're able to control, the weather. Get out of here. Get out of here. This is Isaiah 29 and 6. It says, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. All right. Here in California, you have a particular season of fires hitting, the valleys and different areas. And then, as it says here, with earthquake, great noise, storm, and tempest, a hurricane, twisters, tornadoes, so on and so forth, all judgments of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and these are visitations. Going back to 2nd Esdras 9, in 2, it says, then thou shalt understand that it is the very, very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So leading up to the ultimate visitation, there's going to be, judgments happening in the world, and it's going to be coming in the name of hurricanes, twisters, tornadoes, earthquakes, natural disasters, people uproaring. the Lord, which he is the Father of spirits, he put these spirits out here for these people to do these things, and then he turns around and judge them. All right. So we got that in Cuba, the hurricane situation. Now, going to the Eastern Hemisphere, you have the situation with Russia as far as these gas pipelines. Now, you had the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, which feeds gas and energy into Europe. That was disconnected. All right. And now you have this Nord Stream 2 pipeline that was damaged. They said it was about 3,000 feet of damaged pipeline, and it was causing, certain things to happen in the ocean. So let's read a little bit of this. This is from Sky News. It says undersea blast recorded at same time Russia, Germany gas pipelines damaged. It says the Kremlin and others say they can't rule out sabotage after unprecedented damage was caused to both Nord Stream 1 and 2 a day before a new pipeline from Norwegian gas fields carrying gas to Europe is due to open. And we know this is all war, rumors of war strategy. All right. And out of it, at the end of the day, Esau Edom, as it is written in Revelation, the 20th chapter, he deceived the whole world. So a lot of the stuff that we see happening in the news is strategic by the elites. All right. They have to formulate this, these different thoughts and these ideas in the people. All right. That's what they use the media for. The media isn't just to bring news, but it's also to push out certain theories, certain thoughts, all right, to deceive people. So we know that Esau, he wants to come down with great wrath to ultimately, push forth his new financial system. So he has to crash the different currencies throughout the globe. So with energy being cut off from Russia going into Germany, which these pipelines also feed energy and fuel into different countries in Europe, they're projecting that the energy cost is going to skyrocket, and they're already saying people can't afford it, and people, is riding. I mean, not riding, but they're going out, to protest and rebel against these high gas bills. They're saying they can't run their businesses. They can see the potential of them not being able to warm their houses, during the winter months. So this can spell chaos, which is all in the benefit of Esau. Okay. So let's see. Got a little 30-second video here. It's entitled Nord Stream Gas Leak Causes Bubbling. So it appears to be no audio. All right, but you see the visuals there. Now, Russia could have done something, could have sabotaged their own pipeline, just to continue to cause turmoil. All right, so that's going on over there in Europe, and Europe and those eastern countries. So this can spill sedition, chaos, and more uproars. Now, here in America, this is an article that the brother put in the chat, Shakam from Men of Valor, South Carolina. It's from Zero Hedge. This is another website that you want to be looking at and checking out the different things that they bringing out. Now, I will say this: you do want to eat the meat, spit out the bones. You want to, make sure you're bringing out the correct news, because sometimes, a lot of this stuff be bogus. So here it says American farmers warn of severe food shortages beyond their control. Now, this title itself mates with prophecy. And as we were going into, prophecies is the testimony of the Lord Yahushua. In fact, let's go to Matthew, the 24th chapter. When you come across articles speaking about the situation with farmers and food shortages and all that type of stuff, that's supposed to put the spirit on you to want to sound the alarm and blow the trumpet in Zion. All right, this is Matthew, the 24th chapter, the 7th verse. I actually start the 6th verse. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. The situation that we just read about as far as Russia's pipelines feeding into Germany and causing, that gas to not be able to feed into Germany. That's all rumors of wars, because that's going to lead to more war activity. All right. And see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Why? Because we're waiting for the ultimate end time prophecy, which is Esau making the implantable technology, the MOTB, mandatory. Okay. The war isn't going to come until the MOTB is pushed. For nation shall rise up against nations, uproars of the people. Nation, when you go into this word, you have the Greek word there, ethnos, which is tribes, kindreds, and people. So you're going to have people rising up against each other. It says in kingdom against kingdom, Russia against Ukraine, America financing Ukraine to fight against Russia, China against Taiwan, so on and so forth. Do your research. It says, and there shall be famines, plural. So it's different countries going to be experiencing famine. So when we come across these articles that's going into famine, hey, this is end time prophecy. This is letting us know what time and season that we're in. Like we read in 2nd Esdras 9, you got to measure out the time diligently in itself. And you do so by seeing the different things that's going on in the world, and you made it to the prophecies. Okay, let's continue on here in Matthew, the 24th chapter, the 7th verse in the middle. And there shall be famines and pestilences, different diseases. There's an article that came out yesterday saying basically C-19 ain't going nowhere. There's 3 new variants that they are saying could potentially cause an uptick in infections in the fall and the winter months. And earthquakes, we went into that in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, this is the beginning of sorrows, because things are going to get drastically worse. Now let's go 2nd Esdras 15, 2nd Esdras 15, 2nd Esdras 16. We often go into these chapters. Why? Because this is end time prophecy. The best time to drink the wine is when it's in season. All right. So we're drinking this wine here. All right. Let's see. 2nd Esdras. You want to start from the top. Let's hit the first verse, and I'm gonna go to the point. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So our conversation is supposed to be about the prophecies, and prophecy means to say before. In fact, Paul, he even said, desiring spiritual gifts, but rather that ye prophesy. All right, we want to be proclaiming and making public the word, the counsel, and the desires of the Lord. And we went into it in Isaiah 46 and 10, where it made it prophecies being the counsel of the Lord. So you want to speak thou in the ears of my people, the Lord's people are the Israelites. Let's get Ezekiel 34, and we're going to read the last couple of verses. Ezekiel was a prophet during the time of Babylon. He was amongst the captives of among the river of Chabar, and the Lord revealed himself unto him and gave him the truth so he can go prophesying to Israel. This is Ezekiel 34, verse 30. Thus shall they know that I, Yahweh, their power, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, saith Yahweh. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pastor, are men, and I am your power, saith Yahweh. So the Lord's people is the house of Israel, right? So 2 Esdras 15 and 1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. The Spirit is sent from the heavens, and the Lord channels that Spirit through his men. So he puts his word in our mouth, okay? This is from the heavens. And it's divinely inspired. Now let's skip down to the 5th verse. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So the different things that we see going on in the world, the plagues, the sword, the famine, death, and destruction, this is sent from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So let's go back to this article. We're going to read a little bit, and we're going to stay in 2nd Esdras 15. American farmers warn of severe food shortages beyond their control. All right. It says, with bad news now an everyday thing, get ready for severe food shortages before the holidays. At least that's what U.S. farmers say. They've been plagued by droughts, heat, high fuel and fertilizer costs, labor shortages, fires at processing plants, you name it. All right. The outlook for American crop production isn't too good. In fact, the food you see in your grocery stores won't be so plentiful a few months from now. That's because it takes time to grow food. And the current cutbacks in food production spell disaster in the very near future. Food shortages are also coming from overseas. Farmers worldwide are experiencing the same problems simultaneously, and there's no way out. All right, let me post this in the chat. So, a lot of good information there. All right, when we hear stuff like that, we rejoice because it was prophesied in the scripts that these different things will be happening. And shalom to the brother Damawath on the comment board. So, interesting thing, they talking about the farmers, and we're in 2nd Esdras 15. So now let's read some prophecies. Let's see. Give me 1 second. This is verse 12 in 2nd Esdras 15. Egypt shall mourn. Egypt, this is another title for Babylon the Great. When you read Revelations 11 and 8, it speaks about the dead bodies. Their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. This Egypt that we're reading here in this chapter links up with the Egypt that is spoken of in Revelation 11 and 8. Shall mourn. So no peace is coming to this place. Mourning, lamentations, and woe is coming to this place. And the foundation of it shall be smitten with plague and punishments that the Most High shall bring upon it. And we read the plagues that the Lord is going to send upon this place in the 5th verse: the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So that's what is going to be used to smite this place. Verse 13, here's the point. They that till the ground, these are the farmers, shall mourn. And that's what we're reading in this article here. All right. There's cutbacks. Let's read it again. The outlook for American crop production isn't too good. In fact, the food that you see in the grocery stores won't be so plentiful in a few months from now. That's because it takes time to grow food, and the current cutbacks in fruit production spells disaster in the very near future. You know what? I actually meant to go up. It says at least that's what U.S. farmers say. Now let's see what they're saying. They've been plagued by droughts, heat, high fuel and fertilizer costs, labor shortages, fires at processing plants, you name it. So they that till the ground shall mourn. That's mourning right there. They're complaining about, it's droughts. It's been, the heat. And you know what? Esau is going to come out and say the reason why we're suffering a great level of famine, is because global warming. All right. The different things that's happening as far as, the overwhelmingly consumption of CO2. That's why we're experiencing the different heat waves and the different weather severities taking place here in America. So therefore, we got to, get on top of controlling the CO2 emissions that people are emitting. All right. And it's all going to play into him pushing out, these different agendas and these different influences that the WEF is pushing out. So let's continue on here. So we're reading about the farmers mourning, and it links up with prophecy. Back in 2nd Esdras 15 and 13, they that till the ground shall mourn, For their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail. These are these weather catastrophes. The severity of these different weather conditions increases in earth, and with the fearful constellation. So they did with the Farmer's Almanac. They're able to read, the constellations, and then that gives them particular information to let them know if they're going to have a plenteous harvest in the near future. All right, but it says fearful, so that means it ain't going to be yielding forth information that they want to hear. Verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So more woes, sorrows, all right, destruction, so on and so forth. And this from Daily Mail: leave now, do not wait. 300,000 Floridians are ordered to evacuate before monster Hurricane Ian slams into the West Coast at 140 miles per hour as Tampa ready for its storm of the century. All right, and they're actually saying that, the eye of the hurricane can actually land in Tampa, and it hasn't been, they haven't experienced that in quite some time. So, we got to sit up and watch and see how this works out. Now, at the end of the day, the Lord is bringing, the hurricane, but the Lord have put the spirit on Esau to have these different weather manipulating equipment. So Esau could be out there with his geostorm equipment to intensify these hurricanes. So that's something to look out for. In other news, back going to the Eastern Hemisphere, dealing with Putin and Russia, it says Putin ally warns nuclear threat is certainly not a bluff amid the fears president would declare invade Slovakia. Amid fears, the president will declare invaded Ukrainian territories are part of Russia within days as voting in sham referendums comes to an end. And we know that the nuclear destruction won't come until the end. So, this is just more rumors of war. All right, there's other prophecies that have to come to pass before nuclear destruction, before nukes get sent off. All right, and then back going into the whole pipeline situation, says Ukraine accuses Russia of Nord Stream terror attack as gas leaks from sabotaged pipelines send vast rings of churning bubbles to 3,000 feet wide to the Baltic Sea surface following undersea explosions. So, going more in depth into the situation with the pipelines, and this was Nord Stream 2. Nord Stream 1 was cut off a couple of weeks ago, maybe roughly about a month or so ago, and now you have this second pipeline. So, just some information to stay hip to, keep watching. And as always, we want to continue to stay on our watch, and we're not going to give the Lord rest until he established the kingdom. So let's end off with Isaiah 62. In 6, it says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls. It says, I have set. So this is the Lord channeling that spirit, putting them spirits out upon the men of the Lord to have this characteristic of being a watchman. Oh, Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. You can run across these videos any time of the day. Ye that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silent. So we're supposed to be, giving a warning, and we're supposed to be making mention of the different things that we foresee coming through the spirit, through the prophecies. It says, give him no rest till he establish, till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth, which will come during the kingdom of heaven, which is rulership of the Israelites on earth. So the spirit or the fruit that grow on the trees of the elect will be that they will give him no rest till he established. So they will endure unto the end. So keep watching, keep praying. Lord willing, you will edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to our elders and apostles, great millstone that taught us the truth. Shalom, Akim, Wa Ba Ba.